Budget. What a word. It's like diet. Those words are basically words that make you think self-denial. This is what I can't do. It doesn't have to be that way. And I'm hoping this episode will make you feel better about budgeting. Budgeting over 50 is very different than when you're young. If you're still in the workplace, you do still have some flexibility as to the amount of money you're bringing in. But if you're retired, you're living on a fixed income. I have found that a lot of my friends who are between the ages of 50 and 85, who are single, are having a difficult time managing their money. My older friends are part of a generation that maybe leans toward the man taking care of the money. But when that man is no longer there, how are they going to take care of themselves? This isn't a discussion about who should and who should not be handling the money in a relationship. It is, though, a suggestion that you at least know what's going on so that, should circumstances arise, you are able to take care of yourself. Unfortunately, I have friends who have lost spouses unexpectedly, who have found themselves in a divorce situation, and in many cases, there has been a scramble trying to figure out what's going on with the money, who was paying the bills, where was this money going, how do we keep things on track during this horrible, horrible event. Having worked in accounting for over 40 years now, I can tell you that budgeting does not have to be intimidating. Budgeting is planning. If you can follow a recipe, you can follow a budget. Budgeting is the only way you will feel in control of your financial situation and your spending. But remember, unless you are comparing your spending to the budget, then the budget is meaningless. If you don't do that, then basically it's like being on a diet and not weighing in and checking against your goals. You won't lose any weight and you won't know how to adjust if something happens. Now, spending can be an emotional thing. At our age, don't we deserve to reap the benefits of all of our hard work over the last however many years we've been out there in the workplace? Yes, we do, but be proactive about it. Example, you go out to dinner. It's a planned expense. You have it in your budget. You can enjoy the evening, enjoy the meal. Or you can go out not having a planned expense, realizing later that you're going to have to skip a future expense to make up for what you did. We don't need that stress. So how do we budget? There is a process. If you follow it, you can get to your goal. So let's look at all of your current spending. Be honest, the budgeting hasn't started yet. I would start with the previous year's spending. Use your last calendar year and look at your expenses. If this is 2025, look at your spending for 2024. Look at all of your bank transactions, all of your credit card transactions, and group everything according to category. This is going to give you a jumping off point for your budgeting. Now, if you already know that, say, your Netflix bill is not going to be the same in 2025 that it was in 2024, go ahead and use that current pricing when you're making the list so that you at least have the most current data. So I break things down between annual expenses, monthly expenses, weekly expenses, and you may have some quarterly expenses. Insurance sometimes is paid quarterly. Sometimes you pay your taxes quarterly. So think of your expenses in terms of when you pay them. That way we'll make sure we get every single thing that goes out the door for a calendar year. First, look at annual. Annual expenses could be property taxes, year-end giving. It could be car tax. Anything that's paid annually, make a list. But also make note of the due date. You might pay your car tags once a year in March. Make sure you have all of that written down. Next, look at your quarterly and your monthly expenses. List the quarterly expenses, list the due dates for those. Go through your monthly expenses. You have several of those that are fixed monthly expenses. Examples of those would be insurance, Netflix, utilities, anything like that that you pay on a monthly basis. Could be lawn care, it could be pest control. Anything at all that you know is going to come due that month, write it down, write down the due date. And lastly, weekly expenses. Those are planned expenses, but you know you're going to have them every week. That could be grocery shopping. It could be haircuts, gasoline, anything like that that you need to operate throughout the week. Write those expenses down and write down what you actually spent on those last year. So now you have a list. Start going over that list. Get a really good grip on it. And after you stop and cry for a little bit, because it's going to make you cry, we're going to move on and start talking about budgeting. Trust me, you're going to see some categories and you'll ask yourself, what was I thinking? Why did I spend that much on nails? Why did I spend that much on clothing? Why did I buy that many candles this year? And I can raise my hand on that one. So look at this. It's going to be a very honest look at what your life was in terms of money the previous year. How are we going to organize all of these expenses? There are a lot of different ways, but initially, before we get to budgeting, we're just going to use Excel, Google Sheets, or Numbers, which is an Apple app. Or if you are not inclined in any of those directions, you're going to write it out on paper. The most important thing is that you record everything. And I'm going to show you how to record it so that you can get all of the information that you need. I'm going to use Google Sheets as an example, but this theory will apply to any one of the choices that we've given you. It doesn't matter which application you use. If you're using Gmail, then you have access to Google Sheets. Open up your Gmail. In the top right-hand corner, you will see 9 dots in a little circle. Click on that and you'll see Google Sheets. Select Sheets. After opening the Sheets app, you can either click on a blank sheet or use the prepared annual budget tracker sheet. This sheet is already set up with fields for you to complete. Use the help in Google Sheets to work on your fields and formula. It is very helpful, and I promise you can't break anything. So now let's organize 1 month's worth of expenses. Let's just take a look at that. You can put down January as your first month. Go through, see what you did last year this time. List everything according to category and come up with a total for the month. After you do this, do every month after that. At the end, you'll have an annual amount that you spent total. Then you'll also have an annual amount of what you spent on gasoline for the year, what you spent on groceries for the year, what you spent on eating out for the year. Enter all of your known expenses on the sheet. You will be able to total by month and by year using this method. You can do this by hand as well. Don't feel limited. After listing your expenses, list your income according to month and source. Social Security, wages, retirement, whatever is bringing money in, list that separately. Now you can see where you stand by simply subtracting your expenses from your income and seeing what is left. Now ask yourself, do I like how this is working? Do I like these numbers? Am I allowing for an unplanned car or house repair? Am I allowing for that trip to Italy that I always wanted to do? What am I not planning for? Do I have enough in my savings account? And most importantly, is my income covering my expenses? Any dollar amount that is an answer to any of these questions means you have just created a new budget item. Example, am I going to be able to go to Italy? Do I see a line item for that anywhere on here? No. So I need to add travel. If I want that in May, then I need to move on over to the May column and put in a dollar amount. Do I have enough in my savings account? Will I be able to put anything in my savings account? Do a line item for savings and make sure every month you transfer that amount over just like you would pay a bill. You may have to tell yourself no. If you find that you are running out of money, you've got to make some changes. And if you don't, who's going to suffer? It's going to be you. So if you find that you're not going to have enough money, then all I have to say is suck it up, Buttercup, and make the adjustments you need to make, because it's just for you and it's for the control you need over your situation. You may find that you are borrowing or using credit cards to get through the month. No, that cannot happen. That means you need to tell yourself no somewhere else on that spreadsheet. So think about it. Be hard on yourself. Debt is not your friend, especially when you're older. So if you're looking at previous year's expenses and you see that you spent $150,000 on dining and maybe you don't want to do that, what do? When you make your budget, reduce each month down to what you think is more reasonable for yourself. You're using last year's to see what you did so that you don't get too crazy and cut your nose off to spite your face. Let's be realistic. We know what we like to do. We know what we want to do with our money. We may not know how much we've been spending in those areas, but if you really love to go out, you really love to entertain, just understand that you're going to have to take from some other place to cover this expenditure so that you can hit your financial goals. So now you've gone through your spreadsheet or your sheet of paper. You've changed those line items that you don't want to live with. If you don't like that you spent a lot of money on dining last year, change your budget. Change the budget to reflect what you hope to do and do your best to stick to it. After you get all of that laid out on your sheet, compare your budgeted expenses to what you actually spent. You may find that you're going to go over and under on your budget items. That's not unusual. As long as you are planning and trying to stick to it, and putting some money in savings, you should be okay. There are going to be catastrophic events that we can't possibly plan for, except to save as much as we can. But if you don't make your budget one month and you don't go too far over, it is okay. You're putting money in savings each month if you're working, and if you are retired, you already have your money sitting in savings and you're getting your Social Security check. If that's the case, just make sure that you allow yourself some grace. Know that your savings is what's going to take care of anything that goes drastically over. But if you are under, that money better stay in savings. So now you've changed your line items, you've changed amounts, and you have it down to what you think is a pretty good number for each category. Now you're budgeting. No matter what app, sheet, computer program, such as a Quicken, no matter what you use, these final budget numbers are what you are going to enter into that system to start tracking. But how do we track? What are we going to use? Your choices are endless. If you're willing to pay a monthly fee, and if you are, you better budget for it, you can use a phone app. Phone apps allow you to download your banking transactions and your credit card transactions directly from your banking or credit provider. Very easy, and it's time-saving. All you have to do is put each transaction in an expense category. Some of your options: Quicken Simplify, Rocket Money, Monarch, Wallet Hub, or EveryDollar by Dave Ramsey. If you don't want to use a phone app and would rather use a traditional desktop, Quicken is a no-brainer. It has a desktop option that has been available for decades and is very user-friendly and secure. You don't have to use any of these. You can still use paper and pen, or if you want to, you can use Excel or Google Sheets to actually enter every single one of your transactions. It'll take some time, but if you don't want to pay the money and you feel more comfortable using these things, I highly suggest it. You'll get the same results. There are some free apps out there for budgeting. I don't feel like those are as secure as they could be. If something's free, it's free for a reason. So I would say pay the money, and in a lot of cases, it's not very much a month, or just stick with your Quicken or spreadsheets and doing things by hand. Also keep in mind, if you do use a free app, more than likely they will not have the ability to download your banking transactions and your credit card transactions. So if money allows, I would pay for it. Now you're ready to start. Beware, when you start seeing where your money's been going, it's gonna hurt. Oh, it's gonna hurt. And you're gonna be very mad at yourself. However, change has come and you're going to do things differently. Unplanned spending can add up, but you're gonna realize that now that you have control over your situation, you're going to feel so much better about how you're spending your money, and you're gonna feel better about yourself. I have one last personal tip. When you start to meet your financial goals, reward yourself. If you are doing that well with your budget, take yourself out to eat. Put a little bit more money towards that Italy trip you want to take. Do something to make yourself feel better about what you've done. It's okay, because it will be a planned spend and you deserve it. My question to you: what have I not covered? What do you need additional help with? What are you struggling with? I would love to know. We think we may be doing some future episodes about budgeting and money because we know it's a hot topic for women over 50. So let us know. We want to help.